I am reluctantly excited, if that's a thing, reluctantly excited for this draft. I shouldn't say that. I am excited, really excited to have you guys join me on this special occasion that is the 2024 Thomas Take Sports Podcast Fantasy Football Draft. I am really flabbergasted over the last couple hours, but it's been fun. This is meant to be fun. And this is a really fun league for me, and I know for many others as well that have played each and every year. Each fantasy league, there is that little bit of contention. Anytime there is a rule that is proposed, dealt with a little bit of that over the course of the last couple days. And it was a rule that was brought up back in May, but it didn't go the way that I thought it would. But nonetheless, I still believe as time passes, everybody will be excited for this draft. So let's get right to it. Let's get it started. And of course, the first pick of the draft has begun. And first pick in the 2024 Thomas Take Sports Podcast Fantasy League, I will be taking Marvin Harrison as I own that first overall pick. And we'll see where Matt goes with this. Next pick here. This pick does belong to Matt. Matt is on. Matt is ready and raring to go. Definitely excited to have the ability to take the top wideout in this game. And man, I'm really excited for this league. We got some new blood, some of the same blood. I'm hoping that everything can just be kept civil and good between everybody in this league. So Brock Bowers goes number 2. And waiting on Matt to go with a Dunze. I'm thinking he's going to go with a Dunze. Could go Neighbors. So he's on the clock, 103. He goes a Dunze. And Chris Cornell is on. So we got myself with the first pick. Matt Lakes has the second and third pick. He just took Brock Bowers and Roma Dunze. This was originally Carson Wright's pick, which then was traded to me in a trade for C.J. Stroud. I then traded it away to Chris Cornell in a trade with a couple other picks that netted me Kyron Williams and Drake London. So now off the board goes Caleb Williams, which that was expected. Caleb Williams, one of the top players in the draft, for obvious reasons. Really exciting preseason tape. Really exciting from what we have seen thus far. We'll see what Jonathan Brooks goes to Shane Courtney. That's a good pick for him. He needed a really good running back. I would say Jonathan Brooks is the best one that this draft had to offer. Jonathan Brooks. Now Carson Wright goes Jaden Daniels with the 6th overall pick. Major Payne. Samuel White on the clock. The 7th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Ttsp Dynasty League draft. Samuel White on the clock. There's still some really good guys available here. Malik Neighbors falling to 7. Xavier Worthy, Drake May, Lad McConkey. Well, I'd look at the receivers. Neighbors, Worthy, Brian Thomas. What else we got? There's some names here. There's some names. No doubt about it. Question is, how is this back end of the first round going to look for me when I have the 10th and the 11th pick of this draft? Very uncertain as far as how this one will go at this time of the league. 7th overall pick. Keon Coleman goes to Samuel White. I love that pick for Samuel. Xavier Worthy goes number 8. Johnny Goldsmith. He might end up with the best value pick of this draft, going with Malik Neighbors. And of course, my ass is going Lad McConkey. And now I got a decision to make because I think Trey Benson is a great, great prospect. Whether or not he goes, okay, lead rusher is starter sit, carried the ball 9 times, 43 yards, and then it's tough. It's really tough. I think I'm going to go Corum, though. Blake Corum at 2.1. Now, to put that in perspective, I took Blake Corum at 2.1 because of the fact that I traded for Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams missed 5 games last season. So you want to have what I like to refer to as a handcuff. That value on that handcuff is pretty invaluable. I mean, there's no limitation to the value that a handcuff can provide. So if Kyren Williams goes down, I got Blake Corum to back him up. These were the 3 players that I really wanted. These were the 3 that I really wanted to take. I did pass on Trey Benson. I did take Corum instead, which might backfire. But I really trust Sean McVay and the Rams offense to get Corum involved and to go the direction that that I think matters to the team that is the Rams, to the league that is the new league NFL. Like this running back by committee. I know that running backs get hurt more than any other position, so they really matter. At this position of wondering, who will go to Zach's pick at 2.3, Ricky Pearsall going at 2.3 to Zach, which is a really good pick for him. And then Samuel White is back on the clock, looking at 2.4. He's coming off of taking Keon Coleman, which I'm excited about that pick, right? There's no reason to not be excited about the Keon Coleman pick. Xavier Worthy, Neighbors, I thought that potentially the first round would go the way that it did. There was really no shocks to me outside of Malik Neighbors lasting to 9. I thought he might last to 7 or 8. But Keon Coleman and Xavier Worthy, who's to say that those are quote unquote wrong picks when they're both really, really good. So of course, 2.4, Samuel White, he's trying to find the next diamond in the rough. And who's on the board right now? You got Brian Thomas, you got Xavier Legette. Come on, you got some guys here. Malcolm Lloyd, Green Bay. Now Zach at 2.5. Marshawn Lloyd, I should say. That was nice. That's not bad. All right. 2.5. So we got Marvin Harrison, Brock Bowers, Roma Dunze, Caleb Williams, Jonathan Brooks, Jaden Daniels, Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, Malik Neighbors, McConkey, and then Corum, Benson, Pearsall, and Lloyd. We've seen 3 running backs go within the 3 of the first 4 picks of the second round. Something tells me that there we go. Jalen Wright, another running back taken here in the second round, 2.6. This is Shane Courtney's pick. Could see another running back potentially. Maybe, Xavier Legette, maybe another wideout. Now we're back to me here. This is going to be very interesting because I'm feeling like, Man, this is tough. This is a tough one. Running back wise, Kimani Vidal. Let's see, Brian Thomas. Let's see here. Let's see what he's got. What has he got to offer? You know what? Letting the clock run on this one. Not something that I like to do, but I'm gonna let it run a little bit. I gotta really decide here. Is it Brian Thomas or is it a Donnie Mitchell? I'm gonna go with B Thomas. Ryan Thomas takes Brian Thomas. That's the boom or bust of the Ttsp Dynasty draft. Really excited. Chris Cornell, he goes the direction that I was contemplating, going with a Donnie Mitchell from the Indianapolis Colts. Definitely a name that was worth taking. Ben Sinnott. Now, this is actually my last pick. So fuck it. I'm taking him. I did a reach. I did a thing. Didn't care. Screw it. Pardon my French. Bucky Irving goes in the third round. Now, this is all, that was it for me. That was my last pick. I got Marvin Harrison, Ladd McConkey, Blake Corum, Brian Thomas Jr., and Ray Davis. So 2 running backs, 3 wideouts, calling it a day. And that'll conclude my portion of the draft. 4 picks inside the top. There's 1, 10, 11, and then we got 17, 20. So 5 picks in the top 20. And I think I did as much as I could do for what I needed. I could not pass up Blake Corum. I like Trey Benson a lot, but I took Corum instead with the Kyron Williams addition to my team. I felt like it was invaluable to not take his handcuff. I couldn't pass that up. And I knew if I didn't take him and I took Benson instead, then that handcuff would have been on another team. Brian Thomas, I did not anticipate falling to me with this middle round or late second round pick. Did not expect that. So what? I'm confused on that. How did it allow him to take? JJ McCarthy when there's a 3 quarterback limit? That's weird. Well, he didn't last. He did not last. My bad on the stream. Stream went out. So I'm back. Let's get you tapped back into the updated draft here as this league is continuing to draft. And of course, I'm looking at it from this perspective that I was able to get the guys that I wanted, right? So a lot of other teams did pretty well. Looking at it here, uh, Carson Wright is on the clock with the 6th pick in the 3rd round. When it went out, I took Ray Davis, Bucky Irving went, JJ McCarthy went to Matt Lakes, and that's a little confusing for me because he took a quarterback that's out for the year as his 3rd quarterback, which means he won't be able to pick another one up as a backup until he drops McCarthy, which McCarthy doesn't have much value. So as of right now, that was pretty much kind of like a wasted pick. I hate to say that, but that pick, I don't. Let's see, holds him for a year. I don't know why anyone would do that because he's going to need a solid 3rd stringer. Jalen Polk goes to Carson Wright, which is a great pick there. That was kind of who I was looking at. I was looking at Jalen Polk with the 10th pick in the 2nd round. I went with Ray Davis instead. Really wanted that running back depth. Made that a priority. Tyrone Tracy goes to my buddy Eric Ellis. Eric's had a really good draft thus far with Xavier Worthy and Tyrone Tracy. Look at this here. Ricky Pearsall was actually selected by Zach. That is not Eric's pick. That's Zach's pick. That's why it's got the ZTJC 13 under that pick. But Johnny Goldsmith going in the 3rd round with the last pick in the 3rd round. And then it'll be Matt. And then it is Chris Cornell. I don't have another pick in this draft. I wanted to get the high picks so that I could take who I wanted to take. And I think that was pretty smart. Taking who I wanted to take was a pretty smart, gesture by myself. So now Johnny G cuts Geno Smith and drafts Michael Penix Jr., who is also not a starter. So I'm not understanding this strategy here, but I guess, planning for the future. I guess that's the way you got to do it in some cases. Zach's got a lot of picks. He's got 4.8. He's got 5.6. He's got 4.5. He's got 5.7, 5.8. He's going to get a lot of talent in this draft. Back end talent that, I definitely value. Don't want to say I don't value it. But I was just in a different position. I was at a different spot. I wanted to get the top flight guys that I deem top flight, pun intended, golf pun. But this is a different. This league forces you to think a lot differently in comparison to what you normally think. You got to think long term in this case, and if you don't, then you're kind of playing behind the 8 ball, so to speak. You're kind of on the outside looking in, and that's what makes things so interesting when looking at this type of draft. Now, Matt Lakes goes with Luke McCaffrey with the 10th pick in the 3rd round, and then Jalen Burton goes to the Cincinnati Bengals fan Chris Cornell, which would have been probably my pick there. That was my old pick that I traded away to get Kyron as well as Drake London, and I traded that along with the 4th overall pick, which Chris masterfully used on Caleb Williams. Johnny G with his 4th round selection, his 4th pick of the draft. He's taken Neighbors, he's taken Benson, he's taken Penix. You notice with Johnny's picks, they're all in a row. Nobody else owned one of his picks or anything like that. So this was a real interesting scenario for Johnny G to attack his weakness. Yeah, there were teams that cut players that needed to cut their third quarterback if they were before the draft, and they didn't. And there is some reasoning as to why others are frustrated with that. Because I spoke about it today that there's three maximum quarterbacks on each team. I traded a fifth round pick for Matt Stafford. He's 36 years old, but I knew I wasn't in a position to take a quarterback with the picks that I had. I didn't want to do that. So realistically, I'm at a point where I'm just seeing what's going on. That's all I'm doing. I'm just seeing what's going on. Bills fan, 1992, with the 4.3 pick. This is the Eric Ellis. This is his third pick of this year's draft. He's got Xavier Worthy. He's got Tyrone Tracy. Two picks that I really like. He goes with Kansas City's defense. The first defense is taken off the draft board, and that's a good one to have. KC's D was one of the best, if not the best, in the NFL. I would argue that KC's defense was the majority of the reason why they won the Super Bowl this past year against the 49ers. Their defense was masterful in that game. And Zach is on the clock here in the fourth round, fifth overall selection. Audric Estime, Bo Nix, two Denver players back to back. Bo Nix. Bo Nix was somebody that I was thinking about in the interim of a third round or of a third quarterback, and I didn't want to invest a high pick in a third quarterback. I wanted somebody that I could just plug and play, trade a fifth away, get rid of the fifth. What's the fifth going to get me? It's a late fifth. I'll trade that for Matt Stafford all day long, especially when I have Puka Nacua. And I also have Kyron Williams. So if he throws a tutty to Puka, that's double up if they're both in my lineup. If he throws one to Kyron, that's double. And then Corum was just a safe handcuff. I really like the safety net of having both of those guys. Now, Kyrie Demo's here. This is the second year in a row that I will say that Riri Demos has not made the draft, which is really frustrating for me and for everybody else, but I'll just leave it at that. It doesn't make his team good, doesn't make his team good at all when he's not on. At least I don't know if he's on. This would be the test to see if he's on. And we wait, and we wait, and we wait. This is something. So fourth round goes Jalen Burton to Chris Cornell. Kamani Vidal goes to Johnny Goldsmith in the fourth round. And then then Eric takes Kansas City's defense. Will Shipley goes to Samuel White in the fourth round. Bo Nix goes in the fourth round to Zach. And Audric Estime goes in the fourth round. Back-to-back, two Broncos. Doge Walker goes in the 4th round. And right here, we got Chris Cornell at the end of the 4th round, the 10th pick in the 4th round. Let's see what Chris does here. Takes Jalen McLaughlin, Jalen McMillan, 2 Jalen's, and now I did not know that Kyrie was on because it didn't show that he was on. So let's see here. Let me message Kyrie. All right, so this clock is ticking. I don't know if Kyrie is on. It looks like he's not. It's like he hops on and kind of hops off. So there's probably some sort of intermittent moments where he is on and now he's not, or now he is. So he's on the clock now at 5.2, and then he's on the clock again at 5.3. And then you got the original order of Carson, Shane, and Zach. And then Zach picks at 5.7 and 5.8. He's got 3 picks in a row in the 5th round. And then it ends with 5.10 with Matt Lakes, throw coach. So waiting on Kyrie Demos and his pick here. Kyrie's picking back to back. He takes Cade Stover, and we're just chilling. I honestly, I'm excited for this league. I don't know how long I'll have it at this point, but I'm excited nonetheless to be able to put on a show like this, I guess you could say. So here we wait. Kyrie Demos. He is offline now, from what it looks like. So some changes might need to be made there, because I just it ruins the draft when you don't have somebody in it. When you don't have somebody in it, it ruins it. So, yeah, I took Ray Davis. I did at the end of the second. Screw it. It's a 3rd round pick, essentially. Um, okay. Jets D to Carson Wright. Nice pick. That's probably one of the best picks of this draft. The fact that they were available was massive. Did not anticipate that in the slightest. Shane Courtney, he picks in the 5th round. Dylan Laube goes to Zach. Zach takes Johnson. And picking 3 picks in a row, that's got to be pretty fun. Johnson, Laube, and then he picks again. I think Eric's last pick is 6.3. And then 6.2 is Johnny. 6.1 is Kyrie Demos. Well, let's put some highlight tape on of Blake Corum, my good handcuff. Let's see what we got here. Blake Corum, YouTube. This is my guy. So drafting this kid made me really happy because if Kyron goes down, I got his backup, and I know that Sean McVay is going to use these 2 running backs to the best of his ability. The latest pick at 5.8 is Rasheen Ali. Blake Corum running it down the sideline for 6. Touchdown Wolverines. Could not pass this kid up. Ray Davis also could not pass him up. I got a lot of depth today. Acquired Matt Stafford. It's my QB3. Drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. as well. Being able to draft not only Marvin Harrison Jr., but being able to draft Ladd McConkey. Pulling up his tape. I mean, these are guys that are touchdown machines. What their ability contributes to the football field. Frank Gore, running back of the Buffalo Bills, goes to Johnny Goldsmith late in the 5th round. Goes with Frank Gore. Now, I love Frank Gore Jr. I don't know if he's going to make the team, but I do love him. I hope he makes the team. I really do. I think that he is, a real fun player to root for. Gray is the 3rd or 4th running back to go in a row, and Kyrie Demos back on the clock. It says he's on, and I remember this happened last year. It says he's on, but he is not on. Like there's times where he's on, and then he's off, and then he's on. So that was pretty confusing, but nonetheless, Brendan Rice going to Kyrie Demos. Now let's take a look. Let's take a look at what Zach did in this draft, because he had a lot of late round picks. He takes Bo Nix, Jalen Wright, Dylan Laube, Ricky Pearsall, Roman Wilson, Theo Johnson, and Rasheen Ali. Now, I mean, obviously he's a lot younger with this group. Bo Nix potentially could be a really good 3rd young quarterback for this dude. Jalen Wright, Dylan Laube. I personally like the Ricky Pearsall pick the most. That's probably the pick that I would have made, had I not taken Corum. I really wanted Corum as a backup to Kyron. And honestly, Brian Thomas Jr., Ricky Pearsall, pretty comparable in my humble estimation. So that's kind of how I see that. Now going to the screen share of the draft, back to that. We're going to go to the 6.2 pick. That's Johnny G. He's drafted 3 running backs. He drafted Michael Penix, Malik Neighbors as well. And he's going to be going in the direction of seeing what's out there. The most interesting pick here, Drake May going in the 3rd. There's a lot of moving and shaking here. So going through this, Kyrie Demos didn't have a pick in the first 2 rounds. He traded the 1 pick away for Jonathan Taylor, and then he traded the 2 pick away for Zach Moss, and also was able to gain another 4th in that. So with that 4th rounder that he picked, he took Devontae Walker, which that was on auto pick. So that kind of sold himself a little short there. Probably should have been a Roman Wilson or another receiver there, but nonetheless, that just goes to show you the importance of drafting your own guys and being, on and alert. That sucks. That really does suck for him. But New York Jets, Cleveland Browns are the last 2 defenses taken. I already came into this draft with 2 defenses. So those 2 being the 49ers and the Bills. So, my team was pretty full heading into this draft. I do have some openings, and I'll make sure that, I fill those come draft time. But at the same time, I wanted to really just have as much depth as I possibly could. I only got 5 players in this draft, but the 5 players that I got, Marvin Harrison, Ladd McConkey, Blake Corum, Brian Thomas, and as well as Ray Davis. So actually that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 running backs, 3 wideouts. Yes, I look at a boom or bust, type player. Johnny G ran out of time. That's the first time that we got a pick that ran out of time. Looks like Eric is on auto. So Hunter Henry goes to Johnny, and Eric is on auto. So we'll wait. We'll see how long this takes for it to run out. Going in the direction of Zach's. How many picks did Zach have in this draft? My God. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks. 8 picks in this draft. That's a lot. I really like what Chris Cornell did, to be honest with you. Taking Caleb at 4, and then he comes back. Let's see here. Gets Adonai Mitchell. I really like that pick. That's the dude that I was debating. Didn't know if I should take Mitchell. Didn't know if I should take Thomas. I took Thomas. But that's the dude that I was debating on. I think Adonai Mitchell's a really good pick there that late in the second. I thought he'd go early in the second, but some teams went running back, Marshawn Lloyd, Jalen Wright. That's the direction that they decided to go in. But all in all, I can't be too upset about where my draft stands. It's going to be very interesting to take a look at where we're at as a league beyond this draft, with the players that'll be available. So we'll take a look and see. I'm going to take a look and see who's available right now. Malik Washington, drafted by Zach Troutwine. Chris Cornell is on the clock. This is not Chris's last pick. It's his second to last pick. So he got a lot here with what he's working with. I'm pretty pumped for him. I think his team is getting better. I know he doesn't like where it is, but I think it's getting better. I really do. Um, Looking at things from a long-term perspective, your team gets better when you draft Caleb Williams. That's a fact. Team definitely gets better when you take Caleb. Um, Carson Wright, shout out to him. He's right here with his first pick, Jaden Daniels. I know that he was kind of waiting on pins and needles as to whether or not Caleb Williams would be his pick or Jaden Daniels would be his pick. We were kind of talking about that leading up to this. As I like to talk to all the guys in the league prior to the draft, and Jaden Daniels is the guy for him. Going with Jaden Daniels, not the uh, hero type hype that Caleb Williams is getting. But honestly, if you put Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels together in a highlight reel with, just looking at the tape, um, I think you'd be pretty happy coming away with the guys that one of those two. One of those two, I think, are really solid picks. Chris Cornell goes with Deshaun Watson as his third quarterback in this league. So he's all quarterbacked out. Of course, Carson Wright here on the clock. Speak of the devil, Carson Wright. Mike Gesicki goes at 6.6. Carson Wright is at 6.7. So really, this is just finding that one piece that he feels, okay, this guy could potentially be a starter. This guy might not be a starter. He goes with Elijah Moore. And then Carson Wright picks again at 6.8. And looking at this, to be honest with you, I think I want to take a look at where Carson's at with his picks. Let's see here. Carson Wright, Jaden Daniels, Troy Franklin, Jalen Polk, Elijah Moore, Ben Sinnott, and the Jets D. No running backs for Carson just yet. Taking a look at who's available, there's really not that much out there. He goes with Isaac Guerendo, goes running back. So that kind of took the words right out of my mouth. Then Kyrie Demos with the second to last pick. I'm going to just let this go as best as I can. Because honestly, I don't, it says he's on, but this has been, right to the wire almost every time he's been picking. So Keon Coleman going seventh overall. I like that pick for Samuel. I like the Marshawn Lloyd pick too. And he takes Will Shipley, Dylan Johnson, running back out of the Carolina Panthers. He goes second to last. And then All right, guys, this concludes the 2024 Dynasty Football League draft. I apologize for the intermittent connection issues, but just kind of rounding it out here, chilling, taking a look at this. This is the 2024 Dynasty League draft. And man, Marvin Harrison, Brock Bowers, Roma Dunze, Caleb Williams, Jonathan Brooks, Jaden Daniels, Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, Malik Neighbors. Then the front end of the second round, I end the first round with Ladd McConkey, go Corum, Benson, Pearsall, Lloyd, Wright, Leggett, Thomas, Mitchell, Sinnott, Davis, Irving, McCarthy, May, Franklin, Allen, Polk, Sanders, Tracy. Looking at this, I mean, there's a lot of blue, which means a lot of receivers, a lot of running backs, very few quarterbacks. There were only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks selected. And that's for obvious reasons. There's a 3 quarterback limit in this draft. Or in this league, rather. So the teams that didn't get one, there's going to be some moving and shaking. Now, I'll keep you guys posted on what that entails. But nonetheless, I am ready for a movie and then hitting the hay. So I greatly appreciate you guys tuning in to tonight's podcast, Thomas Take Sports Podcast Live Dynasty Draft. Thank you so much for tuning in, and